Welcome, everyone, to episode 198 of Social Chatter, your weekly social media marketing talk show. My name is Christian Karasevich, CEO and founder of socialchefs.com, and we have a fantastic show for you. First, though, I want to play a short video, and then we're going to roll into some topics.
Are you tired of watching shows that only give you general social media theory and expect you to figure out how to apply it to your own industry? Join us for this week's episode of Social Chatter, the industry's longest-running social media marketing news talk show. Not only will you learn the latest breaking news, but you'll also gain practical advice on how to apply it. Now here's your host, Christian Karasevich.
So, Phil, it's fantastic to have you back on. I know we have a special episode this week. We're both busy doing a lot of workshops and whatnot. And so
it's a holiday.
It's a holiday.
Here in the U.S., we're talking Independence Day, man. I'm taking a 5-day weekend, which I never take.
So I 100% agree with you on that. I mean, definitely take your time, spend some time with family, friends, but as we always like to do, we like to get the show out. So I'm looking forward to this week's topics.
Yeah.
We've got some good topics. We've got Facebook, we've got some Instagram updates. What else do we have?
Instagram, Twitter. We've got some TikTok. We've got all sorts of stuff this week. It's been tough to pare it down to just 2, Christian. But before we get started, buddy, I think it's important. Folks, if you want to get all the good stuff, though, you want to go to socialchefs.com/daily. We don't have the banner this week, but I want to encourage you. Go to socialchefs.com/daily. Get your newsletter. Get signed up, because this week and many weeks, we have way more topics than we can cover. So check it out, socialchefs.com/daily to get your goodness.
So, and like you said, and we have 8 to 9 topics per weeks, at times even more. So that plus some tools, there's a lot going on. I mean, and that's the thing. As a business, our goal, as you guys saw from that video, is to help you demystify social media news, because a lot of times, people, they talk very high level. They don't get into how it actually impacts you in your specific industry. If you're in retail, for example, or you're a dentist or you're a lawyer, great. I'm glad that this new update is coming out, but how does that actually help you? And that's what we try to do each week with the topics that we're going to cover. So I'm going to go and pull up the first one, by the way, because I know we talked about, being short on time and whatnot. So the first topic I want to talk about, by the way, this week is the fact that Facebook's adding this feature. It's a top fans targeting option for organic page posts. Phil, have you had a chance to check this out?
Yeah, so I checked this out. So this is really interesting. So first, you have to remember that your top fans have to accept the top fans post. So that means you're probably gonna have to give them a little bit more than you normally give them. You got to give them a little more attention, a little more love, recognizing that each week you want to recognize your top fans, because this then gives you ability. Basically, top fans equals super fans. You know that only 1% of people like, comment, or share on anything you do. Now we're talking super fans, folks, your top fans that you can target so that it gets an even stronger connection, which, I mean, Christian, isn't that what we want, right? With our social media, we want more connection, not just passive likers.
No, absolutely. And here's the thing. Everybody's always like, oh, well, hey, I've got to get my likes up. And a lot of businesses we work with, they focus on a metric that really doesn't matter. I'm glad, it matters in a sense because it makes you appear bigger than you are possibly, but it doesn't matter from a dollars and cents standpoint, because chances are a lot of times those people are inactive. And so you want to make sure you are recognizing your top fans. Who are the people that are helping your page, for example, or the people, if you run a Facebook group, who are the top people that are always commenting and asking questions or answering questions for, other people that are on the page or the group. You definitely have to keep that in mind. Now, I think, by the way, this is a very good update. I mean, you mentioned, that you have to get them to kind of enable this, but, it's a great way, for example, to be able to get them, to thank them for starters, and obviously to share some exclusive content with them.
As well as, so right now, just to know, it's just for pages. And I say that because it's important to understand, just for pages, but that means it's going to roll out to groups. You notice a lot of the things now are coming to groups, and from your groups now, if you post as the page, people who like a post, you can now suggest they like your page. So this gives you better targeting. The answer to the question of, do I need a page or do I need a group? The answer is both. Absolutely. You still need both.
Definitely need both. And here's the thing, groups are always a fantastic way to, really be, just to get to know who your fans are, on a more personal level. Pages, I kind of see those as hey, I get them in the door. They've seen my business, my storefront. they're kind of in the door, and then, getting them to come back every single week or every single day that you're posting new content. That's definitely where like recognizing your top fans could be really useful. So how does this work exactly? Have you had a chance to look at that?
Yeah, so I looked at it, right? So it's basically a targeting set, right? Instead of posting to the public, which is normally how we do things, instead you just change who you're posting to so that it's only the top fans, people who are your top fans. So again, it's not hard. You just change who the target is. Instead of public, you change it to top fans. Now, the interesting thing is, of course, then you have to go back and change it to the public, because what this does is it gives you a chance to get your top 10, 20, 50 people, depending on your page, right? How many top fans you have, to get it first, because they already love your stuff. So now once they do, now when you release it to the public, now you've already seeded it with 20, 50, 100 likes, 100 comments, right? So now it's almost like Facebook preview, where if I were to release a video, I might only pick my top fans that get to see it, right? I want to go see the Avengers movie. Well, who's going to get to see that? Not the person who's never seen an Avengers movie before, but the person who's already proven that they love Avengers. So really important, right? They love me. We first turn on the top fan. That makes sense, right? Turn on top fan. Second, then just pick your target. Now, by default, most pages have it on by default. But if you were a knucklehead and you went in and turned it off, well, now you have to turn it back on. And now it's going to take you probably a month to get that back, because top fans, right? If you've never recognized your community before, you have to do something with that.
Right. Definitely. And in addition to this, so you're talking about like turning things on. So for example, you need obviously top fans to be able to make this useful. How do you go about getting those? So basically for eligible pages, you need to turn on your top fans badge by going into your page settings. Usually that's in the top right on your Facebook page, and then select the Facebook badges section. And what's going to happen there is you're going to see the screenshot. You're going to see the top fans badges, and you're going to have the ability to turn this on. And again, this is only available to pages with more than 10,000 followers.
Right now.
So, yeah, right now. And that does make sense. I mean, that's almost like ripping a page out of YouTube's playbook, which is they want to get people that already have that established base to give them these features. So that's going to be the best way to get this. And obviously, I mean, you may have this already in your Facebook page as well, if you go check. But I think this is going to be a very useful feature. I mean, if I'm a business, what are some ways you think a business could use this?
Well, again, any content that you want to seed to your top fans would be really nice. Perhaps you want to give them a private screening of a movie. You want to give them a wine tasting. You want to give them a grand opening. You want to give them a exclusive look at something. This is the way to do it. So any contest that you might run, I might say, hey, I want to run that for my top fans first, which makes perfect sense.
Now, the other thing also that I think is very useful here, you got me kind of like just pontificating here. What actually, how could this be useful? So for example, I actually think that if you tie in stories into this, it could be even more useful. So you could have, let's say it's something custom that's, unique just for your top fans. Well, in order for somebody to get that, you need to tell them about this. And how do they become a top fan? I think that you could go and you could create a story, specifically just a quick little video, maybe just talking to your fans saying, hey guys, I'm working on whatever it is. Maybe it's a video. Hey, if you're one of my top fans on my page, and you can tell them how they go about becoming a top fan, you'll get access to some exclusive piece of content. It could be, for example, a background, like, sorry about that. Hold on 1 second, guys.
Yeah, like a movie release. It could be a video release. It could be a song release, right? It could be some backstage exclusive stuff to, maybe you have a sommelier, right? Comes in and does a wine tasting for you. Lots of really cool stuff there, Christian. I get what you're saying for sure, buddy.
And the same thing, like if I'm a retail business, for example, I'm selling some clothing, maybe what I could do is I could have a video that, for instance, is just for my top fans. And then in my stories, I could create a quick story and tell people, hey guys, I just got this awesome new shipment. Maybe you show them the box, a little sneak peek of it, and tell them, hey guys, if you're my top fan, be sure to go to my page and get this. So I think there's a lot of usefulness here for a business, not just a retail business, restaurants, your example as well as, somebody who might sell wine and whatnot. So I think it's a very useful feature for pages specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You and I were talking about this, before the show, but the key thing also is to make sure that you're actually putting yourself out there, that you're telling your fans about this. Because if you don't tell your fans, hey, you got to become a top fan to get this exclusive content, they're not going to know about it. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. Well, and remember, it is not about, hey, be a top fan so you can get crap. It is, tell me what is in it for me. That's the most important thing, right? So let me know. And I would tell you, put that in your about page. Pin a post to the top of your page that says, our best fans, our top fans get exclusive content, get things before everybody else gets it, gets whatever it is. Because again, what is important to them is not that they get top fan recognition.
Right.
It is important that they get something that nobody else gets. Now, some of that is exclusivity for sure, but you got to find out what's important to your fans before you say this is what you get.
Definitely. And don't be afraid to ask for feedback. So, for example, if you have a Facebook group and you have some of your top fans in there, and you obviously want to make sure they're getting the content on your page, maybe you ask them, hey guys, are you getting the content? Do you find it valuable? Put together a Google form, for instance, google.com/forms, fill out a quick little survey, something fun, to get your audience, in the mindset of, thinking about your business and also giving you feedback to help you. So keep that in mind. But this is a new feature. It's top fan targeting for organic page posts. So
yeah, pretty darn cool. Gives us a lot of opportunity here once you get to 10,000 fans.
So the next thing we also want to talk about is, the next thing we want to talk about are ads. These are TikTok ads, basically. And for those of you, who haven't used TikTok, basically it's a new social media channel. It's been out for, I think, a little while, a few years.
1 year, barely a year old.
Yeah. And, what they're basically doing is monetizing it. The bottom line is they're monetizing it. They're going to try to monetize it through some ads. Have you had a chance to check this out, by the way?
So I did not, I don't use TikTok. I do have an account, but I haven't used it. But I will tell you, because TikTok is all based on popularity and not some other algorithm, like it's real popularity and it's real users, these ads are going to be super duper relevant because these are what people want to see. So if your ad sucks, I'm going to guess they get downvoted and your ad's not going to be there. Mm-hmm. So that's really a big deal. I mean, relevancy, again, we've talked about this 100 times before on the show, Christian. If you have a relevant ad, you can win. And if you have a shitty ad, you're not going to win anything. You're just going to waste money. In fact, most of these platforms, they don't even want your money because they want to keep people on. The cost of you running a bad ad is enormous to a Facebook or TikTok. Even if you think, well, it cost me $100. Well, who cares? Cost you $100, cost them 10 users. 10 users that they could monetize times $25 times 1,000, which is now, holy crap, that's a lot of money.
Oh, definitely. And basically, the bottom line here is that they are rolling out, they're rolling out some ads basically for the TikTok ad platform. Again, you have to expect this. Every platform is going to monetize through ads because they're not going to say, okay, hey, give us a monthly fee, because the person's going to quickly push back and say, well, if you want to charge me, then I can go somewhere else, for example. And so in the case of TikTok here, they're going to do ads. They're going to run ads. You're used to them. You've seen them on Facebook. You've seen them on Instagram, YouTube, but they are coming. Just keep that in mind. I think overall, this is, it's something that we kind of expected. The fact that TikTok's going to have some ads. If I'm a business, by the way, how do you think this could be useful, this platform?
Well, I think it's still an awareness play, and it's to show that you're more interesting than your competition. You have to be more interesting than your competition. So this is probably not for financial services. Right. This is probably not for hospitals, but this certainly is for entertainment brand. This is for cool venues. This is for places that, music is more important to them. It's a play, restaurants, stuff like that. So that's where they can use this because, again, create good content. And then now and then you insert an ad that basically forces people to see it. And now you drive up your users, and maybe you'd even drive some click-through traffic so they can actually buy your stuff. They might be able to buy a ticket to your event. They might buy a souvenir, right? So for instance, we see that Chipotle lid flip challenge, which is cool. 100,000 submissions, 230 million views. Here's the thing. From that, Chipotle, of course, is trying to drive awareness to drive burrito sales, but you could use that to sell t-shirts or mugs or hats or notebooks, right? You could get anything with those. So I think the opportunity is really big, here.
I like that actually. There's another little feature that I think is really cool for marketers. I don't say maybe it's not cool. It's cool, but it's also useful. And it's the fact that users can also comment on videos with videos of their own. I mean, to me, that like this is a great way to drive engagement. It's, and you kind of see a little bit of this on Facebook and some of the other platforms. For example, it's like, hey, it's National Selfie Day. Take a selfie and post it in the comments. You kind of see that. But I feel like with TikTok, you get more engagement, I think, for starters. And, part of it's because it's like, hey, it's a new cool thing. But I think at the same time, you also have tools that make it easy to build these. So I think this is a fantastic update from TikTok. I mean, obviously you expect ads, but they're already working with Chipotle, to the UN, the San Diego Zoo, the NBA. So they're working with, major brands. If I'm somebody that wants to get involved with this, I would recommend, this is basically what I would do. If I have not used TikTok, I would start to look at what other brands are doing, see if this is something that can help me as a business owner. Look at my competitors. Are they actually using this? Chances are most of your competitors are probably not using it. So you might have to go outside and look at much larger brands to see how they're using it, and I think from there you can get some ideas. And now the other thing you could also do, by the way, if your audience is not necessarily on TikTok, you could go back to say Facebook or Instagram or these other platforms and take some of the ideas you gain from TikTok and use them on your other platforms as well, to build a more engaging channel if you're just doing the standard posting. So I don't know. I think this is a good update. Even though it's more ads, I like the lid flip challenge, for example. That sounds really cool.
Yeah. Well, any of these challenges, right, that encourage people to create a viral video, I think is often good if it's interesting, right? So don't go with the intention of being viral. Instead, go with the intention of trying to be really interesting, because interesting wins, right? Absolutely. Interesting wins. Crappy content, again, goes nowhere. You have to make good content. And that's where, or for a really good cause that people are really, really passionate about, like ALS, when they did the Ice Bucket Challenge. That's pretty cool. And
that would actually have fit perfectly on here if people were doing that. Instead, people were sharing a video, they would upload it to, Facebook, and whatnot. But I think this fits perfectly on this platform. So keep in mind with that, if you have a cause, for example, that you could tie into, that might be something to tap into on TikTok, provided like it might be your brand is getting involved in it, for example.
Yep.
Keep that in mind. But yeah, so that's what we got coming down the pipe from TikTok.
Cool. So that's really good, right? That's really, really strong. Some on TikTok. We don't typically talk about TikTok, but now that they have a monetization strategy, I think we're going to see more marketers migrate there, which is going to be more businesses migrate there, right? Which means we're going to see even more explosive growth. So if you're debating, do I use TikTok? Do I not? Are we a musical brand? Are we not? Here's the thing. Dip your toe in. Take a look. Think about what your business sounds like, and try to find some music that relates to that. Are you upbeat? Are you more indie? Are you more classical? Find something that ties into that and do that.
Absolutely. So do we have time for any more topics today, or do you want to?
Yeah, why not? Let's go to the Instagram topic. Let's go to the topic that what changed on Instagram this week with the custom stickers.
The custom stickers. Okay.
So this week, Instagram continues to innovate. And by innovate, I mean sometimes rip off Snapchat. And sometimes I mean that certainly they get better and they do new things that nobody's done. But if we think about this, now that Instagram has, they are now trying to engage you in a group chat. This is fascinating here. This is fascinating. So now, much like the top fans, now we've got, hey, let's talk about this, right? What is this? Let's talk about something. And I think this is especially popular, going to be especially popular with Instagram takeovers.
For sure. Yeah. And here's the thing. We've talked about this topic before, but it was like, hey, an announcement, they're testing this, it wasn't necessarily coming to fruition, but they actually are finally rolling out these story stickers, basically, that let you ask your followers to join a new group chat. And I think we've talked about also the direction that social's heading before, which is the fact that it's moving a lot towards private messaging. It's driving people from those, live conversations, for example, or your stories directly to those private chats or those chat groups. For example, if you happen to use a WhatsApp, you can have WhatsApp groups. But this is, again, a good update. And I like the fact that, this has a good tie into that top fans feature or the takeovers feature, as you mentioned. So if I'm a business, so they're calling it the chat sticker basically joins a bunch of other stickers Instagram obviously has within your stories. So this is Instagram stories. You go to your stories, you select the chat sticker, and then you're going to see an option there on the story to join the chat. And obviously then that's going to drive you into the Instagram direct feature, the message option. So if I'm a business, how can I use this? How do you think?
Well, again, conversationally, anytime you want people to talk about stuff, this is an opportunity. You got to make it, again, compelling. Why should I chat? So for instance, I'm at a restaurant, at one of my favorite restaurants, Wine Bar George, down at Disney Springs. One of my favorite places. Love to go there. Great wine. When George is there, they've got 400 wines by the glass.
Okay.
I'd love for George to host a chat where we can ask George questions about what's going on. Right now, it appears that it is mostly for video, but I'm thinking this, and again, because it's small screen, right? We're not going to have a lot of real estate, but we've got some, and I could certainly listen and ask questions of George's wine selections. And I think that's really popular.
And I actually really like the idea here. So what you could theoretically do is, let's use your example here. If you're in a restaurant, you could have it where you're videoing or recording a quick story from the restaurant. It posts it to their Instagram channel, and then encourage people to join the chat. And you could actually have him doing his spiel, and then offline or behind the scenes, I guess you could have somebody there on the phone, answering some of those questions, for example, and having that personality interact with your online fans as well. So I think it's a very useful feature, definitely from that perspective. If I'm a small retail business, for example, I'm selling physical goods, I mean, you could have this, but you'd want to have maybe do it once a week. This almost in a way is kind of reminds me of a Twitter chat in a way, because
absolutely does.
It's basically, the only downside is that these chat stickers aren't public. They're not public in the sense that your chats are not public, but it's very similar in the fact that I could start a story and then encourage people to go have that conversation offline, or basically in a private message. So I think this is a really good feature though. I mean, in order to get this, obviously very simple, people just need to go update their Instagram app from the App Store. And then, you'll be able to get this within your stories. Just open the stories by swiping and then select the chat sticker and then append that to your Instagram story. So fantastic update, I think, from Instagram. Finally got their this out. So
totally agree.
Where do you want to go next, by the way? Do we have time for any more topics?
No, I don't think we have time for topics, but we have time for one tool here. So folks, every week we try to give you a tool that you can use for your business, that you can strategically insert into your business to try to make more money, build more revenue, or increase your awareness. So this week, we've got a pretty interesting tool. So Christian, you want to bring that up for us?
Sure. This week we have, let's get this one pulled up. We have Unmetric.
Unmetric. Fast reporting, better engagement, and more certainty for your strategy. So first point, right? You need a strategy. You got to have a strategy. So important, right? We talk about this every single week, Christian. You got to have a strategy. Secondly, now you can go beyond just the text-based boring analytics and actually see some graphics so you can report up, or you can create your own graphics so you see, am I really getting any results? So what do you think, Christian?
I'm very fascinated by this tool. Now, I will say it's an expensive tool. I think it starts at $1,000 a month if the pricing, is right. But, here's what I really like about it. So for starters, people go, and they share updates on their social media channels, and they go check out these text updates, these analytics and whatnot that come through. And a lot of it's it's boring data. You got to sift through a bunch of spreadsheets. It's not very sexy. It helps you, but you kind of have to know where to look. And so the couple of things I really like about this, for starters, it can analyze your text. So it can tell you, for instance, I'll bring this example up here. Most engaging image tag was the word drink. It had, 3-point-something comments, average engagement of 125. So it tells you, for starters, what text associated with that image was the most engaging. Now, in addition to that, it also has an image color that it analyzes as well. So obviously, if you're using your brand colors, chances are you're going to see that. I'd recommend running some different images. Don't make everything about your brand colors, but that's, I think, is a very, very, very useful feature for me as far as being able to analyze my social media posts. It goes beyond, oh, great, I download the spreadsheet. Now I got to figure out what all these what these 50 columns mean. and well, which one is actually important for me? This actually does, all of that work for you, I think. So like I said, it's $1,000 a month, but it's got some fantastic features. I mean, one of those other features that it has. So for example, you can go and see, which post your competitors are putting money behind, which I think is very valuable. So for example, a lot of people go to a Facebook post, for example, and they say, oh, hey, wow, they've got this post. It averages 7,000 likes or something like that. And what they're not realizing in a lot of cases is that's not organic reach, it's paid reach. So I think that's a very useful feature. So you can see what they're paying for basically. So maybe look at your competitors, see what they're paying for, and hey, you consider paying for a similar ad or a similar post basically. So I think that's very useful. What do you think, by the way?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, you nailed all the points that I would talk about there. Competitor view, better graphics and visuals on our statistics, much more useful stuff, right? Insights and highlights attached to graph automatically. It is really slick. Now, at $1,000 a month,
yeah, it is.
You better have some major ROI. Right. So, is this for everybody? Absolutely not. But you should take a look at this and see just kind of what's there and see which part of it you can incorporate into your strategy if you don't want to spend $1,000 a month, because that's perfectly fine. I'm not spending $1,000 a month in this either.
Right.
But it could be really helpful, especially if you're breaking in, spend it for a month or two, get some understanding of what the heck's going on, and then maybe wean off of it and don't use it anymore.
And that's a great example, by the way, a great way to use this. And it also has things like, it's got word cloud features, for example, so you can see, instant insights, obviously, into like what the comments are saying. For example, if people are using certain words, it's pulling this information out. And you also have to look at it as well, though. We talked about this before, but you have to look at the value of your time, and, I'm going to go ahead and pull both of us here up on screen. You've got to look at the value of your time and the value of an hour. So for example, if you're running analytics for your social media channels and you're spending, a couple of days, for instance, going over this, or, half a day, like look at if this tool is $1,000, but it can save you a bunch of time so that you can make more money, as Phil mentioned, very useful tool to give a try. So I like this tool. I mean, again, the $1,000 is a little bit hard to swallow, but I think that overall, it has a lot of usefulness for a business specifically.
Totally agree.
Definitely. So by the way, we've got, I know we had a few topics we talked about today, but we have a couple more that we didn't get to. We've got some, let's see, we have some WhatsApp updates. We have, I think, a couple other Facebook updates as well. But again, we value your time. So what we've done is I've put these into a blog post recap. You can go to socialchefs.com/daily and sign up for the newsletter. Or if you want to just read the blog post, just go to socialchefs.com/SC198, and that'll get you to the blog post. You can watch the video as well if you have any questions. But on that note, by the way, Phil, and it's been a pleasure having you on this week. I'm going to go and wrap up the show. Any parting thoughts you have for viewers?
Well, so again, I'd stress, make sure you have a strategy. Make sure you think about why you're doing what you're doing. Take the time to figure that out and sign up for the newsletter. Certainly very helpful for you folks. If you can't consume everything in 28 minutes like we did today, get the newsletter. Take some time, read the recap, and really put this into practice in your business. That's the only way this is going to help you.
So fantastic wrap up, by the way. So I just want to let everybody know, next week we've got Troy Sandage coming on the show with us. I think it's going to be 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time,
Yep.
Thursday.
Yep.
So on 7/11 at 11. Wow. We've got Troy Sandage coming on, but you'll be able to tune in at facebook.com/social chefs or youtube.com/social chefs. And remember, if you want to catch any of these updates or the recap, just go to socialchefs.com/SC198.